poetry reading a week across Pondicherry. I'm sure we've got enough poets, and we have enough poetry lovers and also poet lovers. So all we need is to get going, get started. And tonight you are blessed because we have two very, very fine young poets reading their hearts out for you. And without wasting more time, I'd like to first ask, I have learned two or three things about poetry. Let me share that with you. At my age, I'm allowed to talk a little too much. That we're all poets. That's what I've learned. We're actually all poets, every one of us. Some of us know it, and most of us just don't know it yet. We're all poets. It takes only 45 minutes to write your first poem. I have personally worked with over 12,000 people to write their first poem in life. Published 532 poets. And featured more than 3,000 poets in Delhi, across the NCR. So, we're all poets. And secondly, poetry is important. Poetry is important because we all want change in the world in which we live. Good change, positive change, to build an equitable society, right? But it's not going to happen, and if it's not happening, it's because you can't leave it to the politicians. Real change will happen when all of us participate in the process of change. Every one of us. So how can poets contribute to change? It won't be through great poets and great poetry. It will be through more poets and more poetry. That is to say, poets like you and I. So without wasting any more time, we have to prove my theory, we have two young poets in the audience here. I'm going to invite them to come out one by one, introduce themselves, because I'm challenged by numbers and names. Please come up and read one poem each, just to prove to the audience that we're all poets. Big round of applause, please. Also, may I add that you can blame global warming for everything, except weak applause. And poetry, listening to poetry is a lot like drawing water at the well. You get what you deserve. So please, big round of applause for the young poets coming up to read. Take it away.
Hello everyone, good evening. I didn't know I was going to be the first one to share my poetry, but I'm more than happy to.
You have to come here, son. Do something or pull the stool towards you, probably the entire stool. There is still some gap over your sitting. Yeah.
How about this?
Brilliant.
Right, so, well, I'd like to thank Muzaffar and Amit for having me over and sharing my poetry. I must confess it's been really a long time since I've read my own poetry in front of such a large audience. It's usually in smaller circles among friends. So, without beating around the bush, I had a tough time selecting which poem I'd like to share with you, but I think I'll go with this one and let the poem speak for itself. Ideally, I would like you to maybe close your eyes and imagine with your mind's eye and let the words take you through this journey and whatever else the words might mean. So if I invite you to close your eyes and just let the words work their magic if they have any. I saw the moon outside my window, blushing at the jasmine's bloom. In silent whispers of traveling light, they spoke to one another. They communicated through their color, revealing why they chose to shine at night, and perhaps how to those who don't see, darkness is a boon. The jasmine and the moon waxed and waned in their own different ways, always letting go of what they had become, to only become something more. The journey below is the same above. We lose ourselves to be born anew. We wax and wane and shed and bloom. We're as much jasmine as we are the moon. Well, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. We have another poet in the house. Gentleman came to read. One of the fine rituals we have at Delhi Poetry is that at the start, people ask and they wonder, how do we run Delhi Poetry? Where does the money come from? So here's the thing. If you have a beautiful phone and it rings during the reading, then I will come to you with cupped hands and receive it as an offering. Made friends with a gentleman in town who says he'll give us 25%, no questions asked. So that's how we run Delhi Poetry in Delhi. And happy to try that in Pondicherry. So if you have a phone, an expensive phone, let it ring, I beg you. But if it's a cheap phone like mine, please turn it off now. I request. Only the National Security Advisor and the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister are allowed to keep their phones on. You have all your phones off, please. Just give me a sign that it's off. Great, thank you so much. So, without wasting any more time, I'd like to invite our first poet for the evening, Mr. Ravindran, who comes all the way from Kerala, to come up and start the evening as one of our featured poets. May I have a huge round of applause?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ruchi Ravindran, and this moment wouldn't have been possible without each one of us and this space. So thank you. I'm going to start with the first quote. It's called Service. How may I serve you? Asked the hands. Extend them to the needy, replied the heart. How may I serve you? Asked the feet. Move in the direction of light, replied the heart. How may I serve you? Asked the eyes. Observe every shift, replied the heart. How may I serve you? Asked the ears. Listen to the voice of my thrall, replied the heart. How may I serve you? Asked the tongue. Become less active, replied the heart. How may I serve you? Asked the nose. Lose your judgments, replied the heart. How may I serve you? Asked the mind. Attach yourself to a goal, replied the heart. How may I serve you? Asked the heart. Fill yourself with love, replied them all. Unwavering your rhythm in the face of shifts, lifting us all up with your dancing gift. For only in the ride of your joyful beats can we serve all your needs. The next one is about a journey where the destination journeys towards a track. It's come from a painting of mine called Kailas. The poem is also called Kailas. Footsteps pave their arduous way, taking spells from the mind. For each step brings them closer to the peak that is desire. Mind sat quietly, counting every breath inhaled, for every breath exhaled must bring it closer to the peak. A little soul in the pond wasn't quiet, nor did it have any feet to walk. The little soul broke the silence with a wail uncontrollable. I do not have any feet to walk, nor do I know the tricks of the mind. Extending my arms up to you, all I have, I give to you. The lotus bent over, a little shade, my little one. Fishes formed a bed under, a little lift, my little one. The elements all came to join in, bracing in ways incredible. Kailas itself, at long last, leaned over to reach the child. So, anyone's heard of the plant called bright eyes? So there was a time when I was very keen on making a medicinal herb garden. And my father being diabetic, I did a research on what could be the plant that would help with diabetes. And I came across this plant called bright eyes. Now I kept asking everyone for bright eyes and I couldn't find where to get it from. And then finally one day I showed the picture to someone who said, I have lots of them at home, I can bring you. And she got me 3 of them. I moved to Aurodhan farm, during COVID, and that's the first one that I planted. First time, the shovels and the mulches and making a bed for bright eyes. The family who this guest house belonged to, all of them come together one day and they start laughing. This is your rare plant? This Savapudame. Savapur means dead flower. In Malayalam we call it Nitya Kalyani. Nitya means every day, that blooms every day. But it also has another name, graveyard plant. It grows in abundance in graveyards. In fact, now I see it everywhere. The second one I planted was a blue cluster vine, beautiful little blue flowers. And they bloom in clusters, but I like to look for pairs always. Not 3, not 4, but 2. Well, that was the end of my herb garden. But then bloomed this poem. It's called Meet Me in Paradise. It's about Prakriti Purusha, body and the spirit, their union and their separation. Red sand washes like paint. Trees agape in storm, as if to swallow whole. Sky painting streets of light. Sun that is rarely friendly, yet pulls life from deep under, stretching them up to the sky. That is paradise. It is here I meet my beloved, befriending the sun, a plantsman, shovels, mulches, and what not, making a bed for bright eyes. When night dawns, he says softly, meet me in paradise, I will be waiting by bright eyes. The next day we meet in paradise, only to sing and make paradise dance. 2 hands work, 2 legs run, mind laughing, body crying in ecstasy. blooms when our eyes meet. First child, the beat of two hearts. When night dawns, he says softly, meet me in paradise, I will be waiting by bright eyes. The next day we meet in paradise. And with a goodbye, he says softly, wait for me in paradise, I will meet you by bright eyes. Soon flames of forest devour my beloved. Imprints bleed on that stage of fire, tears never to present. My heart cries goodbye. I hear his heart whisper, meet me in paradise, I will be waiting by bright eyes. I walk to paradise, losing my feet and mind in passage, leaving my heart by bright eyes. What was left of I join in the sun, wind, and red sand. The beat of hearts bloom everlasting, in pairs of blue always, whispering their song of flowers, only for the years of bright eyes. Thank you.
You promised to read one Malayalam poem finally, yes.
I will do that. Is it, how much time do I have?
Malayalam poem.
You want me to go straight to Malayalam?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's the last one. I just need to find it. Yes. So this is called Purushanda Prakriti. Means Purusha's Prakriti. I'll read it in Malayalam first and then I will translate it. Kadalinte Nathane Tunayai Niye, Kaachinte Shaktiye Kaviyai Niye, Kalavam Kusrutiyum Ninnalangaram, Kandavarundo Bhagyate Punarnava, Shalabhamam Ninnenum Meyum Mriduve, Sarvam Ulkollum Kannum Taye, കരുണ ചെയ്യന്റെ ഹൃദയത്തിൻ നാഥനെ കണ്ണിനു കുളിരായി വായന്റെ പുരുഷനെ പ്രകൃതിക്കില്ലയോ നടനത്തിൻ താളം നീ ഇല്ലാതെ ഞാൻ ദിക്കില്ല പമ്പരം കടലിന്റെ നാഥനെ തുണയായി നീയെ Lord of the seas, you are the companion. കാറ്റിന്റെ ശക്തിയെ കവിയായി നീയെ strength of the winds, you are the poet. കളവും കുസൃതിയും നിന്നലങ്കാരം Stealth and mischief are your ornaments. Kandavarundo bhagyate punarna, those who have seen, embraced fortune. Shalakhamam ninneyum manavum mriduve, your body and mind that's like a butterfly is tender. Sarvam ulkollum kannum taye, give me eyes that can contain them all. Karuna cheyante hridayathil nathane, show some mercy. My heart's Lord, Kanninu Kulirai Vayende Purushani. Come to me, Purusha, soothe my eyes. Prakriti Killayo Nadanathin Talam. Prakriti can't have the rhythm of her dance. Nee illadenya dikkilla pamparam. Without you, I am a directionless dot. Thank you so much.
I'm told that India is the repository of over 1,900 languages. These are mother tongues, spoken languages. There are languages that are beautiful. They are like water flowing over stones. They have that kind of cadence, that musicality. There are languages like mine. I'm a George from Haryana. And our language is good for farming and soldiering. So it sounds like stones flowing over stones. And then there's a third kind of source of language. People who speak their language with their being, with their entire body. And I introduce to you with great pleasure exactly such a poet who reads her poetry not with her throat or her mouth, but with her being. Please help me welcome Sabika.
Just a show of hands, maybe, of how many people here understand Hindi, Hindustani, Urdu, any of the three. Okay, alright. And how many of you have no idea whatsoever of a word or two being probably the most, because I'm just still trying to figure out how much of my set should be in which language. So, English speakers?
Many Indian English
Okay.
and Urdu.
And, okay. Alright, so I'm going to try and play the thing and sing as much as possible because I've noticed that happens to have enough for everybody, even if it is in a language that you don't understand. So I'm going to start with a lori. What is a lori? A lori is a lullaby. Yes, I'm that performer that starts their performance with a lullaby. Let's just say it's a challenge. Let's see how many of you actually go off to sleep. Okay, so there's a part of this lori, this lullaby, that all of us have to sing along. So it goes like, I'm going to sing and then we're going to sing along, alright? So, ho, 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 your turn. Ho, 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 ho. Louder. Ho, 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 beautiful. Let's give ourselves a round. Okay, so the reason I want to start with this is because literally this was the first story I was introduced to in the form of song. कहने को ये पुश्तैनी लोरी है, यानी कि this is a lullaby that's been in the family for generations. My father inherited it from his mother, and I inherited it from my father. And the version that I'm going to be singing is a songified version of the original. And whenever this part comes, which we sang along, I'm going to invite all of you to come. Alright? Should we start? Ho, 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 ho. सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, तुझको सुनाऊं एक राजा की कहानी. सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी. राजा के खेत में सोने का धान, उसकी रखवाली को रखा कल्लू के स्थान. होए राजा के खेत में सोने का धान, उसकी रखवाली को रखा कल्लू के स्थान. एक दिन चिड़ियों ने चुग लिए राजा के धान. राजा ने काट लिए कल्लू के कान. हो 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 मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी। तुझको सुनाऊं एक पार्टी की कहानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी। ला 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 ला। चूहे बेगान को चले शेर की पोती, किसी की तुम छोटी थी, किसी की तुम मोटी। चूहे बेगान को चले शेर की पोती, किसी की तुम छोटी थी, किसी की तुम मोटी। शेर के यहाँ पक्की थी मोटी सी रोटी, खूब खाई रोटी तो खुल गई धोती। हो हो सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी। तुझको सुनाऊं एक ऐवरी सी कहानी, सो जा मेरी रानी, सो जा मेरी रानी। ला 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 ला। ना तो लेट नहीं को है ना, मेंढक बंदूक लिए घूमे सारा गाँव। अपना तो लेट नहीं को है ना, मेंढक बंदूक लिए घूमे सारा गाँव। चींटी ने खींच लिया हाथी का पाँव, हाथी गिरा धम, कहानी हुई खत्म। हाथी गिरा धम, कहानी हुई खत्म। खुदा के लिए अब तो सो जाओ तुम। ओ लाडा ओ Thank you. You were all band members. All right. So a lot of people, when they have a chance to perform at a venue like this, at an opportunity like this, like to share the best work. I like to share my worst work. So I mean, technically, I just wanted to share my first work. So I think the first poem that I remember having written was in tune. तो सबसे पहली चीज जो मैंने लिखी थी वो भी तरन्नुम में थी, and it went something like this. छोटा सा बच्चा है पर ये सच्चा, करता है लेकिन शैतानी। तुरुरुरु मार पड़ती है तो याद आती है इसको अपनी नानी। तुरुरुरु, the turururu was very important. The reason I choose to share this here is because I just feel that, just adding to what Amit ji was saying, all of us have a poet inside us, and more often than not, at events like these, when we hear something that is intimidating, we feel like maybe I will perform eventually next time. But I love to share absolutely raw, nonsensical stuff just to support the inner poet in you. So maybe the next time you get a chance to be in front of a mic in an open mic scenario, please feel free to make a fool out of yourself like me. Alright, moving on. So the next one is a bit of a bread. And I usually, more often than not, like to start with this one, the one that I'm about to share. And it goes something like this. वक्त बीता जो छूटा जो कल पीछे, आज इस वक्त से ये वक्त कहीं छीन न ले। वक्त बीता जो छूटा जो कल पीछे, आज इस वक्त से ये वक्त कहीं छीन न ले। दरखास्त की मेरी हो तो रही है सुनवाई, दरखास्त की मेरी हो तो रही है सुनवाई। हो सके तो ये दरखास्त दर्ज कर लीजिए वक्त अपना, लीजिए वक्त अपना है आखिर आपका ही, लीजिए वक्त अपना है ये आखिर आपका ही, दीजिए जो भी मुझे जरा ठहर कर दीजिए, खुद के लिए न सही तो मेरे लिए ही सही, सुराही खुदी की गर्दन तक पहले भर लीजिए। होगी मुलाकात जहां भी हो जब भी होगी, मिलूं खुल के मैं आपसे और आप भी मुझसे, रहेगा इंतजार शबे बहार का और वो आएगी जरूर, रहेगा इंतजार शबे बहार का और वो आएगी जरूर, उस शाम मैं और आप यकीनन हम होंगे, उस शाम मैं और आप। Just before all of you came in, I was having a word with Ruchi, and usually when you land up in Pondi, one of the first questions you get is, what brings you to Pondi? Why did you move to Pondi? And as much as, of course, there's a logistical answer to that, I want to work with a more poetic answer. The poetic answer is the piece that I'm about to perform. मेरी गुस्ताखी माफ़ कीजिएगा कि मुझे अपने फ़ोन को खोल के ये पढ़नी पड़ी। So this one is called बेचारा शहर, and this is, in my opinion, the story of every city, literally every city out there. And I come from Delhi, and of course I had dedicated this more to Delhi, but I can also see a bit of Bangalore in it. So yes. घर शहर है तो बेचारा है, घर शहर है तो बेचारा है, हर शहर ही बेचारा, काम की तलाश में गांव के गांव उठ चल पड़े शहर की ओर, शहर की ओर, एक नई शहर की ओर, या एक नए नशीले शहर की ओर। हर तरफ शोर, हर तरफ भाग दौड़, रोजगार की होड़, रोजी रोटी की तोड़ जोड़, हर नई सड़क की उम्मीद में हर जगह तोड़, सांस लेने का वक्त नहीं, वक्त है तो खुली हवा नहीं, धुआं में सर उठाओ तो आसमां का नामो निशान नहीं, आसमां का टुकड़ा नसीब हो, टुकड़ा भी नीला नहीं, आंखों में धुआं, सांसों में धुआं, दुआएं हैं धुआं, ख्वाब है, मेरी हर शहर में घुल रहा है ये शहरीला जहर बन के, ये जहरीला शहर, मेरा चुनिंदा जहर, मेरा जहरीला शहर, मेरा बेचारा शहर, मेरा बेचारा शहर। गांव जाना गवारा नहीं, क्योंकि मेरा तो कोई गांव ही नहीं, मेरा तो गांव ही ये शहर, मेरा बेचारा शहर, मेरा बेचारा शहर। Yes, and I think when I had written this, is when I had written my destiny. I was sooner or later going to find myself in PondiPoetree, something I've known for a while. But yes, I think once this was written, it was just written. It's like खुद ही लिख ली अपनी तकदीर। तो इसी को हमने तरन्नुम में भी उतारा। So now I'm going to sing this for those of you who are feeling very confused about what is she muttering in what language. So yeah. घर शहर है तो बेचारा है, हर शहर ही तो बेचारा है, घर शहर है तो बेचारा है, हर शहर ही
तो बेचारा है। काम की तलाश में, काम की तलाश में गाँव के गाँव उठ चल पड़े शहर की ओर, शहर की ओर, शहर की ओर। हर तरफ शोर, हर तरफ भाग दौड़, रोजगार की होड़, रोजी रोटी की तोड़ चोर। हर नई सड़क की उम्मीद में हर जगह तोड़ फोड़। सांस लेने का वक्त नहीं, वक्त है तो खुली हवा नहीं। धुआं में सर उठाओ तो आसमां का नामो निशान नहीं। आसमां का टुकड़ा नसीब हो तो वो टुकड़ा भी नीला नहीं, तो वो टुकड़ा भी नीला नहीं। आँखों में धुआं, सांसों में धुआं, धुआएं है धुआं, ख्वाब है धुआं। हर जहन के कोने कोने में सियासती धुआं। सांस लेने का वक्त नहीं, वक्त है तो खुली हवा नहीं। धुआं में सर उठाओ तो आसमां का नामो निशान नहीं। आसमां का टुकड़ा नसीब हो तो वो टुकड़ा भी नीला नहीं, तो वो टुकड़ा भी नीला नहीं।
I'm saying this just makes me sad. And I'm sitting with the sadness for a bit. Alright. So this one will have to be in English. And I think I'm doing this more for Ruchi than for anyone else. So this is me testing out some new material, and because it's new, I'm going to have to make more eye contact with my phone screen than with all of you. So please forgive me. This was written more as a healer, you know, as most of us who are not likely to come behind a mic and share their poetry. We are definitely going to write a poem or two in our lives, and mostly it's to heal something. And this one is a very uncomfortable one actually, and I don't know मेरे को कहाँ से हिम्मत आ रही है इसको share करने की. This has never been performed. It's actually me dealing with my jealousy with my current partner's ex-partner having become an obsession of sort. And yeah, this is just me making sense of that jealousy. Hello, imaginary audience. I just realized you're here. Why though? I really want all of you out of my head for this piece. So just go away. Really. Every single one of you, go, go, go. It hurts. Kafi zyada. The mystery hurts. The puzzle just keeps getting more and more puzzling. Who are you? And why don't you reveal yourself to me? Why do you exist? Why are you there? Why are you here? You must have some message, right? Some twisted, cryptic message. Why don't you just talk to me like other mere mortals do, in simple, plain language? Why are we even connected, and that too so deeply? Why are you trying to do this? What are you trying to show me? Or what am I not willing to see? It hurts, it hurts, it hurts so much. Why can't you just go away? Or why can't I get rid of you? How the hell do I make meaning when I can't really ever talk to you? Why is it so important for me? Why am I so obsessed that we should be on talking terms? What treasures am I going to unearth when we do? Or rather, what worms are going to come crawling out? Sometimes I feel like I can dedicate entire anthologies to you. Or rather, to what I call you-ness. But they will still not be enough. Is this even a poem? Or a stream of consciousness? What's the difference really? Am I attracted to you? Intellectually, physically, sexually? Do I love you? Or do I just love what you had, or what you have, and what I will never have? Or do I just love someone you loved and still love? Have I snatched something from you? Have I snatched away your right to love and confess your love to my love or my love? Have I wronged you? I have, right? What have I done? What have I done? Because I have clearly done something that makes you more important than I ever wanted anyone to be. Why do you keep haunting me? Are you a ghost? I have these questions and more questions and more and more and more questions, and the questions just keep coming in, piling onto the previous pile, but I really don't have answers. Apart from some psychoanalytical cock and bull theories that I concocted as placebo answers. दिल को खुश करने के लिए वाले भी ख्याल अच्छा है, बकवास, क्या ही अच्छा है, जब तक मैं तुमसे या जो भी तुम बन गई हो उस अक्स से रूबरू नहीं हो जाती, मुझे सबीका नहीं मिलेगी। और अगर मुझे सबीका नहीं मिलेगी, मेरा नाम बदल। So this is actually the, I can't take their name, but it's their name followed by the word series, and I just want to share where this stream of consciousness finally ended, and where the healing finally sort of, okay, wait. तुम होने को मेरी हमसफर हो सकती थी, अगर हम जिंदगी के सफर में या बस सफर वाले सफर में किसी मोड़ पे मिले होते तो। तुम होने को मेरी हमसफर हो सकती थी, अगर हम किसी लिसनिंग सर्कल में या किसी सपोर्ट ग्रुप में रोते हंसते रोते हुए मिले होते तो। तुम होने को मेरी डांस क्लासमेट हो सकती थी, अगर हम डांसर्स या शामक दावर के या किसी बेली डांस के ट्रायल क्लास में मिले होते। तुम होने को मेरी क्लाइंट हो सकती थी, अगर मैं अपना DMT का कोर्स खत्म कर पाती और तुम अपनी गहराइयों में झांकने की हिम्मत जुटा पाती, अगर हम मेरे थेरेपी रूम में मिले होते। तुम होने को मेरी ओवर अचीवर बंगाली बेस्टी भी तो हो सकती थी, अगर हम सच में एक दूसरे से आंखें मिला पाते और फिर दिल उंडेल के बतिया पाते
कर तुम मुझे किसी भी और मोड़ पर मिली होती थी। मिली तो तुम, मगर मिली मेरे भीख मांगने पे, कि मुझे एक बार मेरे सबसे बड़े खौफ को शक्ल देने का मौका दे दो, तुम्हें इंसानी रूप में देखने का मौका दे दो। मुझे बिल्कुल उम्मीद नहीं थी, मगर तुम मान गई। अपनी उजड़ी हुई दुनिया में मुझे हंसता देखने को मान गई। माफ करना कि मुझे अंदाजा ही नहीं था कि मैं अपना दिल चीर के जो मांग रही थी वो तुम्हारा दिल इस कदर चीर देगा कि हर आंख मिलाने का मौका, हर दिल उंडेल कर पपियाने का मौका हम दोनों से छीन लेंगे। मैं जितना भी तुम्हें जानती हूँ, तुम फौलादी हो। जल्द ही एक दिन आएगा जब हम दोनों मिलेंगे और अपने टूटते बनते घरों से ऊपर उठेंगे। मैं जितना भी तुम्हें जानती हूँ तुम मुझसे ही हो। जल्द ही वो दिन आएगा जब हम मिलेंगे और कुछ छिन जाने के खौफ से आगे बढ़ेंगे, कुछ मिल जाने की फिराक से करेंगे। तुम होने को कुछ भी होती, तुम होने को कुछ भी होती, बस मेरे शौहर का पहला घर न होती तो पागल बने की कगार पे लाने वाली वही न होती। That's my plan. And with that, it's over to you. Amit Badshah on the stage. All right, thank you.
Like I said, you can blame many things on global warming. Weak applause is not one of them. Please, a huge applause for. Like I said, I come from a small village in Haryana. Farmers and soldiers. I've been inspired by poets like Nida Fazli, who I met in Mumbai, lives near my brother's clinic. Me? Sorry, I've got a broken back, so. Can you hear me clearly at the back? Somebody give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
Thank you. And Nida Fazli was a great poet, and he said, Amit, if the poetry does not come from your life, it is not your poetry, and it is not poetry. For it to be poetry, it has to come from your life. My journey has been from a small village to Aurodhan gallery, and it's been a very long journey. My first offering is a poem called Transition. It's about leaving the village and from being a farm boy to becoming a poet today. I've been a working poet for the last 28 years. I've made my living from poetry alone. Farewell fields of diamond dew and saffron morning light. Farewell fields of diamond dew and saffron morning light, and deep at earth that sucks and holds as frozen birds take flight. Now one farewell to all the love that milks the cows to froth and stirs the blood and strokes the flame till work and love are brought. A last farewell to the things I knew, And the things I don't know yet, words fade to nothing as the cows come home and softly dusk sunset. And then, you leave this village, travel about 100 kilometers, you come to Delhi. This next poem is called Delhi. Where every twisting, turning, winding lane tells growing tales of mystery. Delhi. Where every twisting, turning, winding lane tells growing tales of rumors laced with mystery. Where any piece of fallen stone would be a piece of broken history. Where empires forged in blood and steel have stayed as saffron scent on kitchen air, where the paradox is everywhere. Of an imperial city with the flavors of a village, where a pavement dweller pretends to tell you what your life holds and his caged parrot picks your chances, where a street urchin steals only the tune from your car stereo and dances, where there is still shade enough for shadeful glances, where a true love still waits to be found. With just 4 lines of good poetry. Delhi. Can I get a little water for Mom, please? And a pinch of sugar. Did you know this? That if you have a spell of coughing, you put a little sugar in your mouth and you don't swallow it, you don't chew it. Allow the sugar to move through your tissues in the mouth. You'll stop coughing, you'll stop sneezing. When you come to Delhi, one of the things you see which you can't see in Haryana is this phenomena called, it's a crass and crude term to call it begging. I think it comes from lack of sharing. But you find people asking for money, you don't find that in Haryana anywhere. I once went to an exhibition, an art exhibition at the Habitat, and there was a picture of monks, 5 monks in a row, walking with their hands out, asking for alms. So in a school of Buddhism, what happens is that if you're hungry 5 times in a day, you go out and beg 1 handful of food 5 times. Because each time you beg, you surrender some ego. And you cannot begin the journey to being a Buddhist unless you have surrendered all your ego. And so I wrote this poem called Bhiksha. It explores the concept of this thing crudely called begging. I do not become a beggar when I invite you to open the granary of your heart. I do not become a beggar when I invite you to open the granary of your heart. You do not become a giver and or taker when a small handful of food changes hands. But when your hands curl into a small cup of giving, and my hand folds into a large bowl of receiving, we form a yantra of sacred sharing, a perfect mudra of 2 imperfect parts. When a single rice grain performs that long journey between us, it ends the famine between our souls, these empty, aching, and hungry hearts. My parents are both freedom fighters, both of them. And my friends like to say there should be a law against the freedom fighters marrying each other, because this is what you get, that one maverick poet. But in Delhi, a police officer once told me that if you wish to enter politics, you need to have at least one person ready to kill for you. One person. And your place in politics is confirmed. If you want to be a minister, you need 2 people like that. The day you find 3 people willing to kill for you, you can be the chief minister of the state. I don't want to go on with what he said after that. And my parents were both freedom fighters, and they did not die happy with what had happened to their freedom. And this poem is called Whose Republic? It is as relevant in the United States of America today as it is here and the nations in between. Whose republic? One by one, turn by turn, the cat and the bat and the crow and the rat have taken my city. One by one, turn by turn, the cat and the bat and the crow and the rat have taken my city. Insomnia rules the night and fear of the siren and the flatter rule the day. And that broad promised highway to the future is taken up by the motorcades of the politician, the shaker and mover, the power broker, the wheeler dealer, the spin doctor, the troubleshooter, leaving only a tiny lane for we the people to navigate our way precariously ahead. In 70 years, we the people have been broken and tamed. The have-nots have been bought with false promises. The haves have been bought with tax loopholes. The middle class is literally slitting its own throat upon the sharp end of the credit card. And the last of the freedom fighters are breathing bravely on life support systems. And we, the children of the Satyagrahis, the freedom fighters, were doubly damned and doubly doomed. For we have not learned to look the other way or turn the other cheek. So shoot me thrice when my time comes. Once in the gut to balance the pain of so much hunger and unequal living. Once in the heart, for it was a fickle thing and always too easily broken. Once in the head, for always thinking the impossible and dying to make it happen. When you come to Delhi, there's another thing you discover when you're from a small village in Haryana, and it is this beautiful script called Urdu. I discovered that there was Urdu long before I discovered there were people called Muslims or a religion called Islam. The Urdu is everywhere. It's on monuments, it's on people's tongues. It's a beautiful language for poetry. And this poem is called the script Urdu, the kitabat Urdu, the script Urdu. It's written with a quill, a broad nib, from a reed, kalam. And so the dots are square, and this is how it runs. Night stars impaled on black buckhorns. Night stars impaled on black buckhorns, the crescent curve of moon, sand dune, the sharpness of acacia thorns. Of these the script Urdu born. Oh, how the marsh reed celebrates every drop of wetness in the ink, long flowing strokes and hesitates to contemplate and pause to think. Do you know this word, anybody? God, Allah. Oh, how the marsh reed celebrates every drop of wetness in the ink, long flowing strokes and hesitates to contemplate and pause to think. They say that wisdom is the journey's wage. They say that wisdom is the journey's wage upon the ivory prairie trail of vanished herds. The pen caravans across the desert page, bearing the fruit and shade of chosen birds. I come from a family of farmers and soldiers, more soldiers than farmers. At the movement that I used to run in Delhi, we had a belief that if there are any soldiers present in the house, then we read at least one poem. Not because we love war, but because we know that peace is not possible without sacrifice. Would there be any soldiers or defense personnel in the house? Please raise a hand. Anybody? May I ask you to stand, please, for a moment. Let everyone know your name.
I'm Sudeep Das.
Lieutenant Colonel Sudeep Das served this country in the signals branch of the armed forces, and it is one of the backbone services of our defense. Can I ask for a round of applause for him? Thank you for your service. service, and the next two poems are dedicated to you and your comrades. Thank you. This poem is for Bangladesh. We fought for their freedom, but today we are blamed for every difficulty and problem in their country. Their flag is a rice field with the sun in the middle. You have a beautiful field of rice there, Bangladeshi, and I love how evenly it spreads in every direction, promising rich harvests. Except for those patches here and there, where the rice grows taller than the rest, almost like wheat. I am of the wheat people, you know. And my brothers too fought for your freedom, and some were left behind. Write me a postcard if ever you find where they fell, or even if you ever learn to tell why some patches of your perfectly even rice field grow taller than the rest, almost like wheat. There was a war, Kargil. War had an artistic part to it and a scientific part to it. The science says very clearly, once you take the heights, they're impossible to take back. But we took Siachen in '84, and the Pakistanis and their friends from the Western forces who work as mercenaries have failed to take it back. On that principle, they took Kargil. In winter, when our troops come down for the harsh winter, they took the heights of Kargil and presumed that we wouldn't be able to take it back because they couldn't take back Siachen. But in an extraordinary feat of arms, the Indian army, against all odds, against all predictions, not only kept Siachen with us till today, but also took back Kargil. And this poem is called Remember the Roar of Tigers Taking Tiger Hill. I believe that we succeeded because it was not just one hill called Tiger Hill, but every hill in Kargil was a Tiger Hill, and every battalion of the Indian Army was a raging, roaring tiger. And that's why we took it back. Remember the roar of tigers taking Tiger Hill. At the edge of the killing ground of battlefield Kargil, the tigers sit below the hill gathering for the kill. The killing ground runs to the clouds, they call it Tiger Hill. When the enemy took Tiger Hill, there was no one around. When winter comes, its guardians descend to lower ground. Now it's spring and melting snows, of ice and slush and freezing flows. On rough-hewn faces anger shows, a rage for Tiger Hill. Like the tiger sits the hill, silently waiting for the kill. The 17 jagger on the ground, bravest of the brave, cold steel in the open now to feed the enemy grave. Come on boys, gather round, there's man's work to be done. The enemy soils the abode of gods, he must be overrun. When the attack commenced at last, the heavens turned so still. And then cold steel and battle cry ascended up the hill. Every 100 paces one lad died, he lay there where he fell. The 17 just kept grinding on into the jaws of hell. Then hand to hand in close combat and stab and slash and chop. With bleeding steel and insane zeal, the lads were at the top. And though the gods loved sacrifice, even for them this was too much. The dead on every side lay several high, the rage and storm was such. Their fury spent the lads relent, did the enemy in stony grave, and slowly made their way back down, dead and wounded brave. The lads went home, their wounds to heal, where wheat and milk and mustard yield the blood that colors the battlefield. For one moment, the heart is still. For one moment, the heart is still. In memory, then it beats to thrill for men driven beyond human will, and the roar of tigers taking Tiger Hill. Kashmir, sadly inspires as much poetry of love and beauty as it does terror. And do a poem called Love on a Lake before you dismiss me as a kind of warmongering monster. It's called Love on a Lake in Kashmir. What, you ask, as my thirsty mouth draws water at the well of your throat? What, you ask, as my thirsty mouth draws water at the well of your throat? My body joins your body, we turn into a boat, laden deep with soft, sweet words that flutter beneath your skin like startled birds that move on rocks our entity. And as our life drifts from verse to verse, you get the rice grains of memory. I get the fragments of the universe. And in the same Kashmir, terrorism, terror. There were 2 pomegranate flowers upon the tree. She said, one is you, one is me. We left hers to ripen fruit upon the tree. I carried mine into the battlefield. You won't believe the harvest it yielded. In the ambush against the militants, my RPG found a school bus of children instead. And it opened like a pomegranate. I shall carry the memory of that day and my flower, my grave. Yesterday they bombed an orchard in the valley. They said it was a lover's rendezvous. The heavens turned red with grief, the people came out of their homes in horror, their palms upturned to the sky, just 3 words upon their lips, please God, why? Some received a rupee of pomegranate in reply, and others an equal drop of lover's blood from the sky. But there's all kinds of terror. Terror doesn't just come from, planes and buildings, guns and bombs, men with beards and strange accents. So, the terror is in everything. It can be in the rice tin. This is the terror of the rice tin. It is the terror of the young woman who married for love. But it did not last 9 months. But the children kept coming for 6 years until the day he finally left. Now there is terror in the 2nd week of the month. When she reaches into her rice tin and her cup comes up half empty, and her children's eyes accuse her, married for love. There is the terror of the songbird. It is the terror of the songbird confiscated from a pet shop to be released by Maneka Gandhi before the media in the park. The tiny songbird desperately craves return to the sanctuary of its cage, but has seen something that has escaped the eye of the innocent politician. The entire ceremony is taking place beneath the great silk cotton tree. On its highest branch sits a sparrowhawk, waiting to feast on its political freedom. The environment begs the attention of poets. I wrote a poem called The Last Will of the Tiger that was used by NDTV and Amitabh Bachchan to raise $2 million to help save the tiger. At that time, the tiger population was 1,050. Today, thanks to the funds put into the tiger conservation program, it's over 3,500 and counting. This poem is called The Last Will and Testament of the Tiger. When you have stolen my skin from my entity and removed the rod from my life, O hunter, wield the skinning knife with some grace, a little skill. For I too have hunted and killed many, many, many times, but every kill was a prayer and praise of the Creator. My movements were always quick, clean, merciful, such is the way of true believers. But do you now hunt, slice, slash, and cut clean? I pray only that you leave no part of me behind to be eaten by the jackal and the hyena. For I have ruled this forest on behalf of the Creator Himself, and there is no honor in a king becoming carrion. So take the sacred color from my coat, send it back to the maker of sunsets. So take the sacred color from my coat, send it back to the maker of sunsets. Take the darkness of my stripe and return it to the shadow and the undergrowth and the night, for that is where it is obtained. Take the white from the fur of my belly and send it back to the new ice age, that it return to avenge me. Send my rod back to my maker, that he fill the heavens with my rage at this shabby end, for the true king ordained by God himself. Send my claws to the young of the rich and the highborn, to save them from their nightmares. Send my teeth to Tibet, that their aspirations for freedom find new teeth. Send my bones to China, that they find a cure for the fear that builds such great walls. Send my fat to Singapore, that they learn to make a balm that is mine, not merely a name. Send my shit to the alchemists, that is the only substance they have not yet tried in their efforts to invent gold. Give my entrails to whoever shall have them, but hang on to my eyes, you puny murderer. If you tried, might know that you did not fear a creature beneath you. But I looked you in the eye and did not flinch when you shot me. Instead, I am turned away, released from the cancer of your footprint. I'll end this, you know what we're all called Singh in Haryana? Amit Singh, Sher Singh, Ran Singh, Veer Singh and Ram Singh. People think it's because we have the world's biggest blood regiment in the Indian Army, the Jat regiment. But that's not the reason. The real reason is none of us can sing. We're all tone deaf. But when we're happy, as I am tonight, thanks to you, thanks to Len Bhai and Shinaz and Fatma, I got that right? Yeah. And all of you tonight, I am happy. And when we're happy, we always sing. And that takes real courage to know that you can't sing, but because you're happy, you sing. Yeah? सुना है कोई शेर गुजरता है यहाँ से सुना है कोई शेर गुजरता है यहाँ से कि पानी पे हिरण खड़े हैं प्यासे संध्या के अनहद में कोई पत्ता बोला है दो आंखों के तराजू ने हिरणों को तोला है शेर और हिरण की तकदीरें मिली हैं शेर और हिरण की तकदीरें मिली हैं कि दोनों को गुथ कर कुदरत ने लिखी है संध्या का केसर अमावस्या का काजल शेर की शायरी करे जंगल को पागल कवन कुंड आँखों में मृगनयन पाए दर्पण कवन कुंड आँखों में मृगनयन पाए दर्पण अपनी ही आहुति का ब्रह्मांड में समर्पण हिरण की कुर्बानी पे शेर कुर्बान हिरण की कुर्बानी पे शेर कुर्बान इस भयानक सुंदरता की जय हो भगवान सुना है कोई शेर लटका है यहाँ से कि पानी पे हिरण खड़े हैं प्यासे Thank you for being such a fabulous audience. We have some books with us that you might want to invest in. More important, there's refreshment served downstairs. I'd like you to invest some time in that. And I can't tell you how utterly thrilled I am to have had you here tonight. Before you leave, please leave your name and a number with me in a book. We'll send you an invitation to the next reading. And Can we just have a huge round of applause for you?